Hey everybody, this is Jason. This video is an overview of my backyard remodel and deck construction projects. This video goes through the whole process from design through laying the foundation, doing all the substructure framing, and full completion of the deck. So I go into that in a minute here. These first couple photos are just after photos to give you an idea of where I'm going on this project. The woods I used for this is Tigerwood hardwood for the main deck surface, and I used Cumaru hardwood for the accents on the stairs and the border. Here you can see just some close-up of some of the cuts. For the railing, I used a redwood with a stain that sort of matched the color of the tigerwood. So here's the before shot of our backyard. We bought this house as a short sale, and it was really just sort of a blank canvas in the backyard. You see just overgrown weeds here and slab foundation concrete. So this is the first design mock-up I did. I took measurements around the yard, and I designed this out in Photoshop to scale with all the measurements. And this first one just sort of gives an overview of how I planned out where I would put the tigerwood and Cumaru parts. And it just gave me a good guide for knowing exactly how much wood I needed to order and how it would all sort of be laid out. The second design is the foundation. This I was just planning out based on how I wanted to build the deck, where I would need concrete piers underneath to support the deck. So I have these 3-foot deep sono tubes that I poured full of concrete. And have concrete grade beams with rebar reinforcement in between. This third drawing is the final of my design drawings. And this just I laid out where all of the 4x8 main beams and cross beams would go, and how I would lay out all the joists underneath the deck surface boards to support all of the deck surface. So here we go, starting with the beginning of the project. I brought in a couple guys at the beginning of the project and for a couple of the other days to help me out. I knew I was going to have a ton of digging to do and concrete pouring, concrete mixing in the beginning, so had some guys come in. Here you see a section of these concrete piers dug out with the sonotubes in place. I used this number 4 rebar to reinforce all of these concrete piers and the grade beams in between. So I probably overdid the foundation a little bit, but I just wanted it to be really solid, as there's a slope that goes down from the back of our property, just a few feet off of where the deck is going to be. So here you see the foundation all laid out. I got a ton of these Simpson Strong Tie brackets. If you're building a deck like this, you'll get familiar with the Simpson Strong Tie company. They provide every type of bracket you could possibly need for this type of work. So you see I've got most of the 4x8 beams in here and cross beams, and I'm starting to work through all of the joists that will be underneath the different vectors of deck surface boards up on top. So at this point you see most of the joists are in place. And oh yeah, here I've got a video. I didn't really take a lot of videos during it, but I thought I'd go ahead and throw this one in. So as you can see, there's a ton of metal brackets. Actually, the one part of the project, I budgeted all this out. I did not expect all of the different fasteners and brackets to cost so much. I think in my original budgeting, I estimated that it would be $500 for all the fasteners and brackets, and I think when all is said and done, it ended up being like 3 to 4 times that. So here's my buddy Matt Pomerly. He came out a couple days and helped out with framing. Also my buddies Matt Smith and Bob and Mike came out too, and I'd like to thank them for helping out. So here's the stair framing. One of the challenges with the stair framing was how to connect the bottom of the stair framing to the tile underneath. The tile is uneven, it slopes down, so I couldn't just lay it directly down on the tile. So I came up with this solution to use these 8-inch long, big, heavy-duty lag bolts, and I drilled down through the tile and into the slab foundation underneath and set these gigantic lag bolts in with epoxy, and then fastened them to the bottom of the stairs to solidify them so there wouldn't be any play in the stairs. And also it allows a small area underneath the bottom of the stairs for water drainage and water flow, so there wouldn't be a situation where water would catch at the edge of the stairs and soak the wood. Even though it's the ACQ pressure treated, I wanted there to be a little gap underneath, as you see there. So here you see I'm starting with putting on the deck boards. I've got the stairs laid out here. I decided I went ahead and used Cumaru for the top of the stairs, and Cumaru is there's a two-board Cumaru border around the whole deck that will be in there. It's a slightly different hardwood. It's much harder than the Tigerwood. It has a little less character. The Tigerwood that I chose for this surface boards I really liked because it has so much character and color variation. So here you see I'd made skill saw cuts to the edge of all these boards so I could put these Cumaru border hardwood boards in. And here you can see I've moved on to the deck railing. I chose to use these black aluminum balusters that I found online, and all the posts and the rails for the railing is redwood with a stain that I matched to look very similar to the Tigerwood once I get the Ipe oil, the finishing Ipe oil down on the Tigerwood. So you saw I just had some of my 12-volt lighting installed. This is the countersunk holes for all the stairs. So I used hidden fasteners for most of the deck, but for some boards I had to countersink some screws in. And here I just used these little hardwood plugs made of the same material as the Tigerwood or the Cumaru. And I was just plugged them up, and then you use a little saw to cut them off, and then you sand them down and you can barely see them, like in this photo here. There's a little circle there in the center. So at the same time as this deck project, I also was remodeling this other side of the yard, putting in this fence that would go across to basically fence off the whole yard so we wouldn't have our little daughters running off the slope down from our backyard. So here you see I've got the fence all built and had some grass laid in there, and put some palm trees and bark. So that about wraps up this video for the backyard remodel and deck construction projects. These last couple photos are just some more after shots with all the 12-volt lighting installed, and some of our furniture and plants and stuff. If you have any questions about remodeling or deck construction, feel free to ask questions or post comments down below. And if you're interested in other remodeling projects, I've got several other projects on this YouTube channel, including a complete kitchen remodel, bathrooms, fireplace remodel, as well as a bunch of art and music projects. So if you're interested in more remodeling, you can subscribe to this channel. All right, have a good one.